Richard Blaze. I hope you enjoyed that. Welcome to Next Level Kitchen, where I'm going to be showing you some more exciting recipes full of tips and tricks to help take your cooking to the next level, I promise. And today I'm putting the challenge out there because I love pressure, and more importantly, I've done it many times before. Now, this is a next level dish in just 10 minutes. That's right, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious pasta dish in just under 10 minutes. Richard Blaze, watch closely. Right, let me take you through the ingredients, shall we? So I'm going to be using a spaghetti. Capellini will take 4 minutes. This spaghetti takes sort of 8 to 9 minutes in boiling salted water. A nice little bit of pecorino to finish. And then from there, we've got some beautiful little lardons. It's a sort of cured pancetta. Frozen peas, some chili flakes, a little head of lettuce, a cos lettuce, some fresh herbs, fresh parsley, chives, basil. And then from there, a whole chili, and a couple of cloves of garlic, a knob of butter, and this, a ladle, because we're going to be using the pasta water into the final dish, because that is where the magic is. It's the starch from the pasta that helps thicken the sauce. This can be done without the bacon, and literally can be just done with the fresh peas. But the lettuce, for me, is what gives it the vibrancy. This is a dish that I'll sort of eat the night before a big run, because it's just hearty, delicious, and more importantly, so easy to do. Right, let's have 10 minutes on the clock. Please, Richard, watch carefully. Right, when I say salt that water, I mean really salt the water, okay? It's almost got a like taste of the sea, because you're sort of basically, you're making the pasta taste delicious as opposed to bland. Now, pasta in, okay? Straight in, get your tongs, lid on, straight in, and then just twist it like that. Literally the minute's in, and that helps break it up and stops it from sticking together. Lid back on, and that is going to take 8.5 minutes. Now, pan on, nice and hot. Let's start this amazing rendering process. This is just chopped bacon, and I want to put it into the pan and start literally rendering the fat out, okay? Already you can smell that really nice crispiness. So get your spoon and just literally push that down. And these little lardons start taking on a little bit of texture and crunch. But more importantly, that fat's rendering down. A tiny touch of grapeseed, and that will speed up the process. Now we've got the momentum in the pan, and literally give that a light seasoning, okay? It's almost more pepper than salt, okay? Now, from there, you can hear that noise. That means all the water's evaporating, which is great. So you get really nice and crispy in the flavour. Now, get your garlic. Again, just slice them nice and thinly to little shards, okay? The beauty of this dish is that it's almost ingredients that you've got just hanging around. Store-bought pasta, garlic in the fridge, and a little chili. Garlic goes in. Open up those shards. And that's why I don't slice it too fine, because it burns quickly, okay? And then I want to get that really nice and toasty. Toasty, basically, I mean caramelized. Flavor on the bacon, onto my garlic, okay? Now, all I'm doing at the bottom here is just wiping up with this spoon, so I'm just lifting off all that amazing flavor. And look, that's really starting to work beautifully. The chili, I like a little bit of heat with this pasta. Pasta's quite dense, and so I'm going to keep the seeds in. Nothing wrong with that, okay? A little bit of heat, and then from there, literally back in to my pan. And now I start with my butter. If I put my butter in too early, okay, it boils the bacon. So a really nice tip is that you get all that fat rendered down, and then you add the butter. And because the oil has come out of the bacon, the butter won't burn. It's really important. So this is where we start the process of the sauce, okay? Now look at that, the chili, the garlic, and the bacon, doing beautifully. Now, how do we freshen this thing up, okay? This is a really simple pasta to do in literally under 10 minutes. Now you can see the collection of the butter and the oil frothing away together. Nothing's burning, so I can intensify the heat. Check on my pasta. We're 3 minutes in, just give that a nice little turnaround. Stop it from separating. Really heavily salt that water. It makes a massive difference when you cook pasta in salted water. Look, beautiful. Now, I've got my frozen peas. They go in. Right now, they need to defrost, okay, and they need to cook. So, again, mix that in, get the ratio right. I've got sort of 1/3 peas, 1/3 bacon. The rest is garlic and chili. Again, a little touch of butter all the way around. And now I'm going to freshen up this mixture with some really nice fresh herbs. First off are the chives. And I want the chives sort of left into nice battens. I don't want them chopped too small. Chefs are obsessed with chopping chives so fine, all the goodness is gone. So I keep them nice and whole, and they go in. And it gives that really nice, light, sort of onion flavour. The parsley, I just hold down and just chop through, roughly, but not twice the same leaf. Again, that goes in. And then finally, my basil. Roll it up into a big cigar, slice through, keep it very robust. And again, in. Now, the flavour profile in here is off the charts, okay? It looks healthy. And all those herbs are now literally lifting up the flavour of the bacon, the peas, the garlic, and that chili. Love it. And you can see the sauce starting to work now, where it's got this nice little sort of reduction going on. From there, we'll take a little bit of stock, a little touch of veg stock, literally in. A couple of tablespoons. In we go. And now, it's going to up the ante on the seasoning. Bring that together, cook all those herbs through. Check out my pasta. Time, please. 5 minutes. Halfway. Halfway. Pasta's 3 minutes away. Now, this is where it goes up into a different level. Lettuce. This kind of inspiration came from working in France, where we had fresh peas finished with bacon and lettuce. It's the same with pasta. It's beautiful. Cut the lettuce heads in half and literally just slice. I almost like this sort of salad to sort of better tasting than fresh spinach. It sort of gives a really nice lightness to the pasta, but more importantly, it goes in at the very end. Now, 50% of the lettuce is water, so don't go too early with that, okay? Leave that ready to go. I'm going to fold that in when that pasta's cooked. Now, I'm going to start making my sauce, okay? Adding the butter to the stock, and then from there, I'm going to take out a little touch of the pasta water. I told you the bit with all the starch. Just a ladle, and put that in there. And that naturally starts thickening up that beautiful sauce. Now, bring it together. And look at that flavour. We start correcting the seasoning now. Okay, taste. Delicious, really delicious. Again, in. Pasta, literally 1 minute, out. Now, reduce that down, and you can see that getting really nice and thick, okay? Lettuce goes in at the very end, and then finally, I'm gonna take our lemon, and the lemon goes in now. And again, that with the bacon and the peas and the lettuce is incredible. Nice. Reduce this down so it almost becomes nice and shiny. So it becomes a really nice sort of pea, bacon, herb sauce. From there, take the lemon, squeeze that fresh lemon juice over that. Now we got a touch of acid. That is delicious. It's like this fresh spring garden. It's absolutely packed with flavour. Pasta. Time, please.
2.5 minutes.
Wow. So the pasta we're sort of looking for needs to be a little bit sort of translucent. You want a bit of a bite on there. 30 seconds. Look at that. So beautiful. Here's the exciting thing about this dish. It's the kind of dish that can be done whilst you're waiting for the pasta to be cooked. And so I've done this literally in 6 minutes. And so you can use a thinner pasta. Capellini literally takes 90 seconds, but the spaghetti, I can really cook with the spaghetti. It doesn't break down like the capellini would. So I love it now because, look, I call it the magical moment where all that concentration is coming into one beautiful sauce. And you can see how it's all glazed beautifully. And I've made this really nice, fresh herby, spring, delicious sauce. And now I'm gonna start adding my pasta. I'm gonna leave the momentum, don't over drain the pasta, leave the momentum of that in. And here's where a lot of chefs make the mistake, dumping too much pasta in without mixing it through first. I'm mixing first, mix, mix, mix. Another tip is, don't add all the pasta, because then you can't see the greenery. And look, mix that in, let it drain. I want some water shaking in there, and then again, in. And now look, I've got a nice even distribution of all that goodness in there. And now, I start the magic. My lettuce goes in, and I just very gently fold that in. I turn the gas off, and look, what started off with a really nice, humble bit of bacon in the pan has got elevated to this beautiful, rich, spring, delicious pasta dish. Now, when we come to plate, it's really important. Mixing that pasta in and not going too fast is absolutely crucial, okay? So you can see why I put the pasta in a third, and a third. Mix it round, and then just grab the tongs, go over the bowl, and look at that deliciousness, honestly. Like I said, ahead of a big run, ahead of a big swim, big bike ride, the night before, this is my go-to, honestly. There's enough in there for 3 of you. And then I got that nice even distribution of the pasta mixed through the greens. And then look, that, honestly, sits on there. And because of the sort of pick-me-up dish that I use in training, I go a little light on the beautiful red pepper flakes, and then finally get my aged Parmesan, and then just go over right at the very end. And look, that is my delicious, incredible, spring, amazing pasta. Richard Blaze, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. Now, please let me know in the comments what you think of the dish, and don't forget to subscribe for more exciting videos. Thank you. Wow. F***ing hell. Why am I so surprised? Welcome to Next Level Kitchen, where I'm putting the challenge to my fellow judges and myself to give you amazing recipes to help take your cooking to the next level. Now today we're cooking one of my favorites. We are heading to Italy, where I'm challenging myself to elevate a chicken cacciatore to the next level. Basically, the hunter's chicken. The starch behind this dish is this quick fire polenta. I've got boiling chicken stock. You can make this with vegetable stock as well. But this is a really fine, beautiful polenta that literally cooks in minutes. And the good news about this is once you've used it, the leftovers you can refrigerate, cut into croutons, and fry. And they're the most amazing crouton, especially in a salad. First off, I want to get the flavor into this cacciatore. So I'm going to start cooking the chicken first. Now, I want to sort of get this dish nice and rich. First off, season the chicken lightly. Salt and pepper. I'm going to cook this skin side down so I can render that fat down. Into the pan we go. Again, always lay away from you so there's no splashing of fat up your arm. In, and literally get that chicken cooked. Really important to get some colour on these chicken thighs. You can use drums or a chicken breast, but I love using the thigh, the brown meat. That's exactly where the flavour is. And look at that skin. The skin's got so much flavour. Now, get your stock and bring that up to the boil. Before you add the polenta, taste the stock. Really important. So, it's really nice, but it needs seasoning. And if you season the stock, the polenta will take care of itself. So, a nice little pinch of salt in there first. I also like adding a touch of olive oil to that stock, and that gives a really nice sheen to the polenta. And polenta is such an easy, delicious thing to make and goes well with chicken cacciatore. Now, I'm not cooking the chicken yet. All I'm doing is searing them off. And once you've got the colour, as you can see, I've got that nice chicken fat in there. take my chicken out for 2 minutes, and now I've got all that flavor in that pan. And here's how this dish starts to elevate. Onion, literally, not too fine, okay? This thing is a sort of, it's almost like a rustic dish. Cacciatore means the hunted, and it's a dish that dates back centuries. Onions in that chicken fat. Beautiful. Now, fill it up, whole onion. Again, this is the kind of dish with 4 chicken thighs can feed a family of 4. Again, not too fine on the onion, because this thing cooks. And when you're pushed against the time, sticking it in the oven for literally half an hour, nothing wrong with that at all. Now, in. Onions in. And now we're going to start adding that flavor. I'm going to build in a little touch of olive oil. I've got some fresh rosemary. Just literally pull that off the stem. Some fresh thyme. And just pull those little buds down. And literally pull them from the stem. And then from there, with your knife, just go through them once. Nice and rough. In. And now we're starting to build in that flavor. It's a very rustic, charming dish, and something that really dates back centuries in Italy. And there are so many variations of this dish. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, flatten out those onions, okay? I said this originates from Italy, so we can be a little bit more generous with that olive oil. In. And think of that olive oil flavor now with that beautiful chicken fat. Mushrooms, in. No slicing of them, whole. Tomatoes, in. And literally, let that blister down. Let all the water come out of those mushrooms and let it cook down. Now, keep the heat nice and hot, and then just spread all those onions. The color of this dish when it comes out is beautiful. I love it. Turn up the gas. Now, again, a little touch of salt, and now a little couple of cubes of butter. And this is where it really starts to get even more tastier, because that chicken fat is doing its job. The tomatoes are blistering, the mushrooms are sauteing, and those onions are almost just sort of adding so much sweetness. A little touch of chili flake. It's going to give it a little bit of heat. And obviously with the kids, don't worry about the flakes. But it's just a really nice way of adding a little bit of heat to this dish. Now, cook that down. As you can see, it's all starting to melt into one beautiful pot. Now, this is where the sauce starts to take on a little league of its own. Touch of tomato puree, okay? I always like to get that into the center of the pan. And about a tablespoon, and then literally roast it off. The difference in flavor when you roast tomato puree is night and day. Take the back of the spatula and roast that tomato puree. That gets rid of the acidity and gives it a really nice roasted tomato flavor. And once you've roasted it at the bottom of the pan, then start incorporating it across the rest of the onions, the mushrooms, and the tomatoes. And look, it's all starting to cook down really nicely. And then, literally, everything's starting to combine into one. Honestly, as a really good chef's tip, roasting that tomato puree off, the difference is night and day in terms of flavor. Now look at those colors. Beautiful. Now we're going to build in more layers of flavor. Olives, just dot them around. Again, keep them whole. The nice thing about this dish, there's nothing complicated. There's all amazing flavors that come together, especially when it goes in the oven. From there, my capers. My capers give it that little bit of acidity, okay? And it really does give that nice sort of sour taste to it. A little touch of red wine, just a touch. Let that evaporate. Really important. You can see it coming together. This dish takes about 20 minutes from start to finish. But honestly, you can do this with whole chicken thighs, the drum and the thigh, and literally let it cook for an hour and a half. There's nothing that's going to overcook in here. It needs to be overcooked to taste absolutely delicious. Now, stock, get that up to a boil before we put the chicken in the oven. Now that we reduced the red wine, look what's happened to those tomatoes. They're all blistered. And that's going to be a nice little fresh tomato puree in there. That's why it's important to put them in early, so you get all the nice sweetness coming out of those tomatoes. And look, you can identify the mushrooms, the tomatoes are disappearing, and got this really nice sort of fragrant, almost stew-like of vegetables. Beautiful. Now, your can of tomatoes, and just fold in your can, another season, and then give that a really nice mix so it all starts to blend in together. Now, you can add a bit of stock here if it's getting a little bit too thick, or water. I prefer stock for obvious reasons. The flavor is so much better, but it's so easy to do. Check your seasoning, touch more salt, a little touch of pepper, and now a little bit of acidity, some delicious balsamic vinegar. You'll see why. It darkens this stew, but it gives a really nice flavor, especially to those olives. And think of the ingredients in there. Now, we get our chicken. And our chicken goes literally back in. And we sort of submerge it in to those resting juices. And literally dunk it down so that skin is literally on top and nice and crispy. Resting juices into that sauce, really important. And then from there, this whole thing goes in the oven. Literally, a low oven, 15 minutes max. In we go. Now the polenta. The stock is boiled. I've seasoned it. As it comes to the boil, gently sprinkle in your polenta and whisk at the same time. If you throw it in too quickly, it'll go lumpy. And this is a really nice way of serving a delicious polenta, especially cooked in chicken stock. And now that it's boiling, it starts to thicken up nicely. And it's almost like the consistency of custard. I like it quite thick. And then, look, beautiful. Once you've got the thickness, take it off the stove and start correcting that seasoning. Touch more salt. And now we're going to start loading up. And this is where this polenta goes into orbit. Beautiful aged Parmesan. I like a little bite with my polenta, so a little bit of fresh pepper, and then a nice tablespoon of butter. And now you whisk this thing. But look what happens. It just starts to take on this sort of richness. And it becomes regal and delicious. The butter gives it that really nice creamy taste. Again, correct the seasoning. Wow. Now, just to finish that, some parsley. Again, loosely chopped. And that goes in right to the very end. Give that a really nice mix. Beautiful. So you almost want it like just dropping through that whisk. Because it's so fine, it cooks out so quickly. And now, the beautiful Italian kiss. Just drizzle your extra virgin olive oil over and sort of give it its final coat of jewels where it becomes shiny, rich, and that extra virgin olive oil gives that really nice grassy, delicious flavor. Look at that. That is beautiful. Now, one more garnish, and that's my broccolini. That's so good. I've just cut my broccoli in half, the stems. I'm gonna drizzle them with some extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to season them with some salt and pepper, and then a light dusting of chili flakes. Roll that round. There's something quite nice about a crunch with broccolini. It goes so well. And also, oiling the broccolini now, not putting oil on the grill, stops everything from going crazy. So I just get the stems side down, the bits that I've literally cut, and I sort of place them on top and just press them in. A little tip, once you've gotten them on, just get a little weight, a little bit of pressure on there. I like to use a lid, and look, push them down. So once you've got the smoke, you call the fire brigade. Love that. Beautiful. Doesn't this remind you of Snoop Dogg's kitchen? Now, look, they're glazed, they're marked, and the flavor of this broccoli, listen, it is sort of renowned as one of the most boring veg. This way, for me, drizzled with olive oil, cooked from raw. The bites and the chili flakes are incredible. From there, look at that. The flavor is incredible, but it's the bite. This way, for me, is such a delicious way. And then from there, again, a little touch of extra virgin olive oil, and then for a little touch of acidity, an aged balsamic vinegar. It is so good. I can eat broccoli like this all day long. Just let them sit. Now, think about it. The rapid fire polenta, grilled broccoli, and now the cacciatore. Oh man, look at that. Bubbling and juicy. That is so beautiful. So beautiful. This is a perfect family meal for me because we started off with 4 chicken thighs and it's evolved into this amazing, beautiful, big dinner. Polenta sits beautifully. And that's why I put a little touch of olive oil at the end there, because it stops you from getting a skin. And look, generous with the polenta, but really generous. I've worked hard today, so I'm gonna get 2 spoons of that polenta. And then this broccoli just sits each side of that amazing polenta. And when you look at the actual yield of this dish and how cheap it is to make, honestly, it's a huge staple in our house. Look at that. Beautiful. The freshness in that broccoli is incredible. I take my marinade, it goes over and over. And now for the exciting bit. I get my spoon and I literally spoon the juice of that cacciatore underneath. No. And then literally sit that on top. The smell is beautiful. Select your beautiful thigh and sit that on top. And then I have to do it. I spent a year in Italy working, and olive oil, honestly, just a touch over the top. Drizzled and drizzled. And then that little touch of salt at the end. But it's not just salt. It's aged Parmesan that just puts this dish into the Premier League of Italian cuisine. Chicken cacciatore. Bella, bella, bella. Thank you so much for watching. Now, please let me know in the comments what you think of the dish, and don't forget to subscribe for more exciting videos. Thank you. Smell that marinade. Absolutely delicious. Welcome to Next Level Kitchen, where I'm going to be showing you some recipes full of tips and tricks, but more importantly, to help take your cooking to the next level. And I think you know by now that I love an absolute challenge. So this is curry in a hurry. I'm here today to show you one of my favorite dishes, butter chicken. I actually went all the way to India, to the birthplace of butter chicken, to really understand what it takes to get this chicken curry absolutely right. First off, we're going to marinate the chicken. Now, you know I love a challenge, so I did say curry in a hurry. So let's put 15 minutes on the clock, please. Let's go. Right, first off, get that chicken, take off those little tenders, and just cut those tenders in half, put them into your bowl. Get your breast, and literally slice it down the middle. Now, depending on how much time you've got, depends on the size of the cubes, okay? So I want this done in literally 15 minutes. So literally cut them a little bit smaller. If you're doing thighs, just cut the thighs into sort of 4 nice little bits of chunks. If you're doing legs, which you can also make that beautiful chicken with legs, then just literally keep the legs whole. Now, into the marinade we go. Inside there, touch of salt, some pepper, and now this is where the marinade starts. Fresh turmeric, about a teaspoon. But again, just cook with your eye. Literally a nice teaspoon of turmeric. Cumin as well. Again, a little teaspoon of cumin. Some ground coriander. And again, literally just cook with your eye. A nice teaspoon. In she goes. Cayenne. Sometimes you can use a really nice smoked cayenne pepper as well. And that gives it a little bit more sort of richness to the actual butter chicken. And then my favorite spice, which is a mixture of 16 to 20 odd spices, a fresh garam masala. Now, get your yogurt and literally go in with 3 nice tablespoons of yogurt. That will help really marinate the chicken, and it will really start adding that lovely flavor. From there, a little bit of oil. We put the oil in now, so as when we come to start cooking the chicken, it's already set. The seasoning's in, and then literally oil, and let that sit there. Now, if you could do this the night before, here's a little next level tip. If you marinate the chicken the night before, I promise you, it penetrates the chicken so well, it goes all the way through and literally stains the color. And sometimes you see in these old-fashioned Indian restaurants that they're using food coloring. The traditional way, as you know, is to marinate the chicken the night before, and it literally lifts up the flavor. Now, nice hot pan, as always. Get it nice and smoking first, and then I'm going to start the sauce, the base of the sauce. Because it's a nice butter chicken, I like using red onion. White onion's fine, but red onion's less harsh than white, and so it really does give it a nice mild flavor. Slice the onions. We're going to blitz this sauce, so don't get fancy with the little chopping. We don't need to. Just slice the onions down in half, and again. Again, oil into the pan. And now we're going to start caramelizing those onions. Generous with the grapeseed oil, and in. Onions go in. How long, please? 2 minutes gone? 3 minutes gone. Thank you. A couple of cardamom seeds. Underneath your knife, little tip, and just bash them twice. And that just opens up and releases all that amazing fragrance from the cardamom. Cloves, leave them whole. And then from there, in we go. Now, start cooking those onions down. Now, spread the onions up the side of your amazing pan, and that will start caramelizing them really nice and quickly. From there, your ginger. Just take your ginger, slice it into half. Again, we're going to blitz this, so don't get fancy, wasting time doing all the chopping. And remember, when we're blitzing things and puring those sauces, we don't need to have that precision with the knife. We can be a little bit rough and ready. Ginger in, onions, ginger. My chili. I'm going to leave the seeds in because I want to up the ante with the heat. And if you ever do make it a touch too hot, a really nice tip is to add more butter. Okay, butter's a really good cooling agent and takes out the heat. Leave the seeds in, again, and in. Now, that smell is delicious. Really coming together. And it's fresh and it's fragrant. And again, just get the back of the spoon and spread that up the side of the pan. Now, get your garlic, again. 3 nice cloves of garlic. In. Once those onions start to break down, this is when we're going to start adding a touch of richness now, okay? So, think about it. Onions, cardamom, cloves, garlic, chili. And now I'm going to start putting my butter into those onions as well. And that's going to really start getting this thing really nicely caramelized. Now, turn the gas up and start letting that caramelize beautifully. Now, as I start that process, with a little bit of fresh cilantro, I'm going to use the stalks for the sauce and use the tops for the garnish. So I leave the tops there, I take all my stalks and I go into the pan with all that beautiful goodness. Beautiful. Now, you can see it's all starting to come together. In there, I'm going to put a little touch of my garam masala and just a light dusting of garam masala. That's going to dry up all that fat. A little touch, again, of the turmeric. And I'm sort of just literally lightly dusting the onions, cumin, because I want to toast this spice in there now. And it's very similar to the mix that I put in with the chicken in the marinade. And now, as you can see, that paste is coming up really nice and soft and caramelized, and it's starting to really smell delicious. Touch of the cayenne. So it's a similar sprinkling that I did in the marinade. And look, toast that now. And this is where the butter really starts to help toast those spices. Onions are caramelized. Ginger is almost broken down and given that really nice sweetness. Another touch of butter in there. Now, as that's cooking out and releasing that beautiful aroma, getting rid of all that harshness because we're drying out those spices and intensifying the flavor. Look what's happened to my onions. They've almost disappeared. They've gone into this nice, sweet, caramelized puree. In the pan, next to it, because this is a quick marinade and it's literally a curry in a hurry, okay, I'm going to start cooking my chicken. I've got everything I need in there, the marinade, the yogurt, and the oil, and we just literally start cooking the chicken. Beautiful. Now, chicken into the pan. Get a little bit of colour on all the marinade in there, okay? And this is where this curry really starts to take on a sort of a nice flavour on its own. But look at those onions and all those aromats there, the ginger, the garlic. Beautiful. Now, just squash down the chicken and just get that coloured. If you want to go up to the next level, you can grill this chicken separately and then add it in, but I like to put it in the frying pan, especially when we've got a full household and it's a curry in a hurry. It really does work beautifully like this. And that chicken's already changed colour. And don't worry about the colour on the chicken now, that's what we want. A nice richness. Now, that's caramelised all the way down. Time for the tomato sauce. Okay, open that up and then get your tomato sauce in. Literally half a jar. Beautiful. Bring that up to the boil. As that starts to boil, then we're going to add our double cream. And this is where it goes up to another level. So it's a really nice, rich butter chicken. Bring that up. And you can see the colour. It's really starting to take on a really nice dimension. Now, look at the chicken. The chicken's roasting beautifully in the pan. The sauce is making headway. My rice is steaming. Turn down that. I just let that cook slowly there. And you can smell that marinade. Absolutely delicious. Like I said, the thigh, the drum, beautiful. When you're cooking with the breast, it's so much quicker. Now, before I start blitzing my sauce, I want to taste the flavour. Needs a touch more salt. Needs a touch of lemon juice. And that really brightens up the flavour, especially with the richness of the cream and the butter. And then bring that to the boil. And now, I'm going to put that in our blender. And we're going to blend. Chicken's cooking nicely, nice and low. And then from there, we blend our sauce. We're cooking the sauce twice, okay? So, and this is where I get a really nice velvety colour. Time, please?
10 minutes.
Wow, good. Lid back on. Nice and slowly now because it's hot, so don't whack it up fast. Just nice and low, hand over the top, on, and just start that low. Literally 30 seconds, you'll see that nice, smooth, beautiful tomato gravy. Lovely. Now, take all that out on my pan. There's a nice thing about working with these pans. I'm going to put all that extra marinade in there because the sauce is going back inside here. And watch and see what happens. Now we've got momentum. Turn that up. Now, you don't have to do this, but it's a bit of a chefy thing. It's a tip. It's a really nice thing to do, especially to a beautiful, rich sauce. I like to pass this sauce literally through the sieve, and I'll show you why. Look, it's got this really nice, rich, buttery flavor. You just take the back of the ladle and you just squeeze that round. And look, out comes this immaculate, velvety, beautiful, rich sauce. And the reason why I do this is I've got the sort of whole cardamom pods, the cloves. Now, you don't have to, but it's a really nice way of finishing that amazing sauce. Look how smooth that is. It's velvety, it's smooth, and it's the perfect sauce. I'll put my chicken in there now. Scrape all that wonderful flavor from those pans in. And look, you bring this together, okay? And now this is where I add the magic. A couple of knobs of butter, literally in there. And then back on the low heat. And then finally, get your lemon and just hit that with some lemon zest. And that's gonna give it a really nice, fragrant finish. And it really does just absolutely finish off that chicken. Don't boil it. Turn the gas down. And it's really important, whenever you add butter into something, you never boil it. And a great tip is just to literally use your spoon and work that butter into the sauce. And then finally, correct the seasoning. Find out where we are. Touch more salt. A little touch of pepper. And then get my fresh cilantro. Slice it once through. I love the spice. I love the heat. In at the end. And once that butter dissolves, it's going to come together as this beautiful butter chicken. 1 minute left. Right. Look at that. My rice is steaming. Take that out. And even if you're doing a wonderful dinner party, literally serving this with homemade chapatis. Delicious. That there is literally the most amazing butter chicken done, beautifully done. That is curry in a hurry in literally 14 minutes and 58 seconds. Motherfuckers. Thank you so much for watching. Now, please let me know in the comments what you think of the dish, and don't forget to subscribe for more exciting videos. Thank you.